Yeah! Back, baby. I'm back. How's it going, guys? Cameron here with Canadian Gamer. Pretty rainy out. It's rainy out all day. You know, it's hard to hold a candle in the cold November rain. Ho! So I got something fun I wanted to talk about. I just kind of thought about this past week. You know, with COVID and everything, you know, the launch of the next gen consoles, it wasn't like it was back in the day where you could go into like a midnight launch and you could show up and there was a lot of excitement in the air and you could pick up your new console. Most of the retailers, if not all, you had to pre-order the console and then you had to basically show up the day of and pick up the console from Walmart, as an example. At least that's my understanding of it. So I kind of wanted to talk about midnight releases, maybe some of the experiences you guys have had. What the fuck? Hello?
I'm an Amico fanboy every day, every night, every morning. In the afternoon I walk in the street with my fanboy cap and my t-shirt, yeah.
The fuck was that? Anyways, moving right along there. Again, talking about midnight releases. And for the longest time... Oh, yeah, by the way, beer of the day. We're going with Heineken today. For the longest time, I thought, you know, midnight releases, you know, showing up at GameStop, EB Games was the nerdiest thing to do. It still is. And I remember the first time I kind of heard about how people would do that. It was right around the time of GTA 5. And I was this close to checking it out. Go to the midnight launch, but I never could, muster up the courage to do that. And then the first time I actually ended up doing the midnight release, this was the sole reason why I bought an Xbox One. And so this game reminded me of when I bought my Xbox One. The original VCR fat model was 2015, and I bought that Xbox One the week of when Fallout 4 came out. I was so amped up and excited about Fallout 4, I went out and bought an Xbox One. And so with this one here, I didn't know what to expect. I went to an EB Games in Ottawa for a midnight release. And man, the lineup was like it literally was out the door. I showed up early and it started out the door. And finally I worked my way into the mall. And the whole mall was closed, but they opened up this section of the mall so you could go to EB Games. And I just remember that it was really exciting because, again, I had just bought the Xbox One. I only had it for maybe a month. And Fallout 4, you know, it's just like there was a lot of hype around this game. There was. And so I waited, and everybody online's talking about the game. You get closer to the window of the store, and you can see the posters, and you can see the Pip-Boys, and the limited editions, and all the rest of the steelbooks. And it was really fun. I had a lot of fun. And I left the store, and I remember getting back to the car, and I couldn't believe I had this in my hand. I think I was unwrapping it as I was driving home. And then I got home, and at that point, I don't know what time it was. It must have been like 1:30 in the morning. And I put the disc in the Xbox, and everybody in the whole world must have been trying to, I guess, download the day one patch at the same time, because when I put the game in, it kept crashing. It wouldn't download the game. It wouldn't download the patch. It was frozen. It was stuck. So I get all the way home and I couldn't even play the game. So I waited and I waited and I waited. And I think after a couple hours I was able to play the game. And man, oh man, was it ever cool at the time to be able to step out into the open world on a next gen console at the time, or the current gen. It was relatively new. The Xbox, been out for 2 years. Xbox One. Now, after I had played this all the way through, it left a little bit to be desired. I really didn't like it as much as New Vegas. It's still a good game, don't get me wrong. One of these days I'll probably revisit it. But yeah, that was my first taste of a midnight launch, was back in 2015. And so I don't typically I wouldn't typically go to a midnight launch unless it was something that was like a big deal. So, you know, the next time I did a midnight launch was when this bad boy came out, Red Dead Redemption 2. You best believe I went and showed up for this one. This one, I had been waiting years for this game. Before they had even announced it, I'm like, man, they really need to do an RDR2. And I remember the teasers that Rockstar had released. I couldn't believe it. So, me and my buddy at the time, we showed up and we got this game. Again, a pretty big lineup. I don't think the lineup was as big as this, but it was big. And again, I couldn't believe it when I had this in my hand. And I rushed home. And man, the install was huge on this game. I don't think I played this until like the next day. But this was another one where like we waited in line and everybody's talking about Red Dead Redemption 2. A lot of excitement in the air. So yeah, I do. I like going to the midnight releases. I think it's a damn shame that we couldn't go to a midnight release for the Xbox Series X and the PS5. That's part of the charm. That's part of the fun, is standing in line, meeting new people, talking about video games, feeling the excitement in the air. So that's really unfortunate we didn't have that with the new consoles. But yeah, it was really fun going to these two midnight releases. And, you know, I'm kind of tempted to go to the Cyberpunk 2077 midnight release if they have one. That would be a lot of fun too. I know, especially if you go to one in Toronto or Montreal, where our boy there, Mr. Miko Francois, is from apparently. Maybe I should drive down there and pay him a visit, buy him a beer. But I'm sure in Montreal and Toronto, and maybe to a lesser extent, maybe Vancouver, they've got big lineups for Cyberpunk 2077. New York City, I'm sure that's going to be pretty big. Las Vegas. And yeah, so a lot of fun with the midnight releases. Again, I don't do them too often, but if it's a real special game, I'm all for it, absolutely. I think, you know, I would have probably done it for the Outer Worlds, but I don't think that was as much of a big deal that they didn't warrant a midnight release. It has to be like a big deal. I don't know if they did it for the new Call of Duty. I have no idea. But those are just, again, these are just a couple of games that I experienced doing the midnight release. I know everything's online now, so it's like not really a big deal. You can just download a game now and play it right away at midnight. It's not the same though. So leave in the comments below, do you guys have any fond memories of any midnight launches, any midnight releases that you can think of? I'd love it if you could share it in the comments below and we can get a discussion going. And let me know, are you guys going to go to the midnight release of Cyberpunk 2077 if there is a launch for that at midnight? Let me know in the comments below. So that's it, just a short video, guys, right at the 8-minute and 35-minute mark. So again, thanks so much for watching. You people are wonderful and beautiful. You take care.
I'm an Amico fanboy, yeah. I got a cap and a t-shirt, yeah. I don't have the shorts yet. It's gonna be soon, yeah.